I'm Dave Rubin.
And hey, I'm Creationist Cat, and welcome to a very special episode of the CC Report. How you doing, Dave? Well, he's been off the grid for a while, folks, so I guess that means his brain is currently in full recovery mode. And with us today, we have a very special guest, presidential hopeful Marianne Williamson. We got any soundproof headphones in the studio today? Okay, all right, good. Listen, Dave. Okay, Dave, listen. This is gonna be a cinch. Everybody saw her at the debates.
You have harnessed fear for political purposes, and only love can cast that out. So sir, I have a feeling you know what you're doing. I'm going to harness love for political purposes. I will meet you on that field, and sir, love will win.
She's kind of kooky, basically like the dog lady, but hotter. You got this. Okay, before we start, associate producer guy, can you enable promo mode, please?
Okay, just a quick reminder that you guys should click subscribe and make sure you turn on notifications with that little bell there. Otherwise, you most likely won't see our videos, and we prefer...
Yeah. We also got t-shirts, sweatshirts, posters, and other super cool crap down there. Buy it! I thought that was pretty good. People always preferred the subtle approach. Anyhow, now that we've got that out of the way... Rubin! Marianne!
Fight!
That means talk, guys.
Oh, I understand.
Ask her a question, Dave.
Well, just tell me a little bit about yourself. What got you to be the person that is now standing on stage with
All right.
that other crew?
We have been living for the last 40 years under what is, I believe, an illusion that all this money would trickle down from the stockholder class. It would lift all boats.
Dave?
Even if that's at the expense of other stakeholders like workers or the community or the environment.
Dave, she's making sense. She's not supposed to be making sense.
We were sold on that. It has led to the largest wealth inequality since 1929.
Dave!
It has led us to the point where 1% of Americans own more wealth than the bottom 90%.
Dave, what are you doing?
And 40% of Americans
Stop her!
in the richest country in the world live with chronic economic anxiety.
Ho, that's great, Marianne, but that's enough of that. Dave, change the subject. Talk about how racism is really coming from the left. You're great at that.
All right. So let's dive into a couple things here. It seems if you watch mainstream media, we are just caught in you're racist, you're a bigot, you're a fascist, you're a homophobe. And unfortunately, and I say this as someone that was, that I still consider myself liberal, a lot of that's coming out of the left and from the Democrats, this labeling of everyone as racist.
All right. Yeah, bitch.
Well, I hear you, and you're leaving out a very important factor, which is that the president, at least based on his tweets
Oh, no.
and his comments, is racist.
Oh, God. That was rough, Dave. And the crying emojis make it particularly humiliating. But good news is, you got 2 brains left.
Fight!
Where I do think this is enough has to do with the fact that the deeper levels of systemic racism, and there is systemic racism in this country.
Ask her for examples, Dave.
So can you give me an example of that?
Yes. You could take white people and black people use drugs at the same rate, but a black person is liable to get a far harsher sentence for the same drug offense.
Uh-oh.
Another example is there are millions of American children who go to school every day in schools that don't even have the adequate school supplies with which to teach a child to read.
Dave, do not let her finish the sentence.
And if a child cannot learn to read by the age of 8, then the chances of high school graduation are drastically diminished.
Oh, boy.
And the chances of incarceration are drastically increased.
Oh, no!
And when you look at the sentencing of black people and people of color in our prison system, absolutely, to deny that there's not a terrible racial injustice going on underneath there is just to willfully deny the facts.
Oh, God, no! No! Well, at least it's over.
Brain blow!
Okay, well, you got one brain left, Dave, to be honest. It's not much of a loss. But your face, your beautiful face! Do you have any concealer, Dave? Or I don't know, maybe a wet nap? Hey, what up, motherfucker? Oh, little Jesus. Thank God it's you.
Yeah, it's me. What's up with the beautiful freak over here?
Oh, that guy? That's Dave Rubin.
Oh, the last liberal?
Oh, you've heard of him?
Yeah, he blocked me on Twitter.
Oh, he must have mistaken you for Sam Cedar or something. Listen, do you think maybe you could fix his fucked up face? It's gonna be really hard for him to shop in the marketplace of ideas looking like that.
Well, alright, but only because I'm a big fan of his stand-up.
You know where the funny stuff's coming? It's coming out of the alt-right. That doesn't mean I'm a Nazi.
That was a good one. Wow, thank you, little Jesus.
Later, motherfuckers.
Miss Williamson, I hope you're all right with little Jesus healing David Rubin.
If that's God's will, then that's God's will.
All right, well, Dave, you're down to your last brain now.
Fight!
Dave, ask her about her thoughts on reparations. You can get her on that for sure.
Well, do you think there's a little bit of a risk in sort of, I mean, a couple of times you're referencing the genocide of the Jews to slavery. Seems like a little bit of a slippery slope there, no?
I don't even know how we can say that, actually, and I say that as a Jew. Have you read up much on slavery?
Dave, whatever you do, do not answer that question. Everyone knows you don't read. Quick, ask her about, like, government overreach or something.
So my preference would always be that we're always taking power away from the government. We're giving the government less money so that it will spend less and do less things.
But let's not kid ourselves, Dave. The people we're talking about government doing less today aren't saying small government. They're saying let's just give the money to corporate control.
The Koch brothers really aren't gonna like this. Abort now, Dave! Abort!
So all the money that you're saying, well, I don't want the government to do that, all that money's just been marched over to short-term profit maximization for health insurance companies and big pharmaceutical companies and gun manufacturers and chemical companies and fossil fuel companies and defense contractors.
Okay, this is really, really bad, Dave. Just look at what they're saying in the comments. This guy says you got wrecked. This crazy guy unsubscribed and says he's gonna pray for you. And this guy is unsubscribing because he says you have dog shit for brains. And there's only one person criticizing her for being a Jew. Yup, it's that bad. Your intellectual dark web friends are commenting on it in live broadcasts. Look at what Brett Weinstein and Joe Rogan are saying about you.
Okay, we got a wounded antelope.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, Dave. You are kind of looking like a wounded antelope there. And Sam Cedar and David Packman are making fun of you.
You've got kooky Marianne Williamson just easily exposing the absurdity of these questions from Dave Rubin.
The entire reason for doing this in the first place was to make it look like you are willing to debate progressives so those guys would shut up about the fact that you won't debate them. You said she was gonna be easy pickings. You really fucked up! All right, Rubin, here's the plan. Ask her about immigration. It's every regressive's Achilles heel. You gotta make this right, Rubin. I'm counting on you. Do it now!
It seems like everyone's kind of veering to some version of open borders. That's somehow
No, Dave.
something kind of.
No, you
So
say
tell
you're a
me.
Democrat. Where do you get this?
Well, I don't
stuff?
consider.
You say I'm a Democrat.
No, I don't consider myself.
Well, I gotta say, Sodomites, that was an outcome I was not expecting. Very well played, Mrs. Williamson. Very well played. Any closing freaking thoughts for us, Marianne?
We all ought to think very deeply. There's a reason why a certain group of people want me to be seen as wacky. There is a political media industrial complex in this country, and there's this assumption that that insider game should rule this country in a way. That's not the U.S. Constitution. This country belongs to we the people.
All right, folks. Once again, don't forget to like, comment, freaking do this thing right here. And hey, we got a Patreon and a PayPal too if you're into either of those freaking things. Until next time, keep it tight. Shot-a-mite.
We haven't talked more tonight about how we're going to beat Donald Trump. I have an idea about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not going to be beaten just by insider politics talk. He's not going to be beaten just by somebody who has plans. He's going to be beaten by somebody who has an idea what this man has done. This man has reached into the psyche of the American people, and he has harnessed fear for political purposes. So, Mr. President, if you're listening, I want you to hear me, please. You have harnessed fear for political purposes, and only love can cast that out. So sir, I have a feeling you know what you're doing. I'm going to harness love for political purposes. I will meet you on that field, and sir, love will win.
Thank you.